video, we are going to look at our first method for solving quadratic equations, and that is by graphing. You are going to take your notes in your booklet on page 5. So let's start by talking about what we are actually looking for when we graph, and that is the zeros. We've defined this before. It's actually the x-coordinate of the x-intercepts. Before you do any graphing, remember to determine if it's in vertex or standard form. That's going to determine how you graph. All right, the first step is to get the equation set equal to 0. In the two examples we're going to do today, we don't need to do that. It's already done. We'll look at some examples in class where we do have to do that. Then you're going to determine the vertex. Then you are going to create a table of values and graph. And then your answers are going to be your zeros. And again, it's technically the x-coordinate of your x-intercepts. We're going to look at two examples today. In example 1, first of all, here's what I mean by set equal to 0. This is already equal to 0. We'll look at some examples later where that's not true, but for today we're already equal to 0. So when I say that I'm graphing the corresponding function. So I am graphing here f of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 8. Since I am in standard form, I'm going to use my x equals negative b over 2a in order to find my vertex. So my a is 1, my b is negative 6, and my c is 8. So my x-coordinate for my vertex is negative 6 over 2 times 1, which is 6 over 2. Simplified is 3. Then remember to find your y-coordinate. You're going to take out your x from your function and plug in the 3. So we get 9 minus 18 plus 8, which is going to give me negative 1. Now from there I set up my table of values. And I've already done my arithmetic so that I don't have to take extra time in the video. I'm going to put my vertex in the middle. Remember, I'm then going to count down and count up. And then to get my y values, I'm going to plug in. So when I plug in 1, I get 1 minus 6 plus 8. And again, I've already done my arithmetic there, so I'm going to get 3. You can plug it in if you want to, if you don't trust me. When I plug in 2, I get 4 minus 12 plus 8, which is going to give me 0. Then I'm going to use my symmetry to get to the other side. Graphing my function, 1, 3, 2, 0, 3, I said negative 1 and I wrote 1. That should be negative 1. I knew there was a mistake when I went to plot it and it didn't give me my curve. 4, 0, and 5, 3. So here's my graph. Now, the important part for solving this equation, because I'm no longer just graphing, is right there where it crosses the x-axis. So this is crossing the x-axis at 2 and at 4. Notice from my table of values, 2 and 4. These are my solutions to that equation. So that's my answers. I do want to point out with an x squared, we will typically have 2 solutions. Let's move on to example 2. Notice in example 2, I am set equal to 0, so I don't have to worry about that first step. I am also in vertex form, so I can go straight to finding my vertex. I don't need to do the negative b over 2a. Remember, the h is in there with your x, and it's going to be the opposite, so h is negative 1, and your k is off to the side, so k is 9. So my vertex is negative 1 comma 9, using my vertex form. Making my table of values, I'm going to put my vertex right in the middle. Then I'm going to go down and up, and I'm going to plug in. Again, I already did this arithmetic, so I have already plugged in to get my values to save us some time. So hopefully you'll just trust me here. But if not, plug it in yourself to check. And I do want to point out, notice I don't get 0. That's what I'm looking for, is my y to be 0. See how I got 0 here and here? I'm going to plug in one more value on each side to see if I can get to 0. If I plug in 2, I get 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 squared is 9, negative 9 plus 9 is 0. I want to know where those zeros are happening. So then I also know if I go down to negative 4, it'll give me 0. So I plotted a few extra points just so I could get to my intercepts there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so negative 4 comma 0, negative 3 comma 5. Notice this one's open down because of that a value of negative 1. Negative 2 comma 8, negative 1 comma 9, 0, 8, 1, 5, and 2, 0. Connect and extend through. And again, are two important points there for solving the equation. Solving the equation. We're not just graphing anymore, we're actually solving the equation. And I can take it from the table as well. X equals negative 4, and x equals 2. That's my solutions. So negative 4 comma 2. And again, most of the time we will get 2 solutions for any quadratic squared function equation.